Off the coast of a small Caribbean village, where the waters were as blue as the sky, there lived a mermaid named Lysara. She was a creature of haunting beauty, silver hair that rippled like moonlight on the waves, emerald scales that shimmered like jewels, and eyes so deep they seemed to hold the secrets of the ocean. Her legend was both feared and revered. Men who heard her song were said to vanish, their boats found adrift and empty. Some said she was a demon of the sea, cursed to remain lonely forever. Others whispered that she lured souls into the depths to satisfy her cruel whims. But Lysara's cruelty had a reason. Once, long ago, she had been a guardian of the ocean's balance. Betrayed by a human lover who sought her power, she had been cursed by the ocean itself. Her voice would enchant and destroy, and she would know the love of men only as a fleeting illusion. For centuries, Lysara had lured sailors into the depths, not out of malice, but because her curse demanded it. Each soul she claimed temporarily eased the ache of her solitude, yet deepened her pain. The betrayal, Lysara's first love. Long ago, before her curse, Lysara had been more than a mermaid. She was the ocean's heart, a being of immense power and grace, tasked with maintaining the balance between the seas and the land. Her voice could calm storms, heal wounded creatures, and even coax life back into barren waters. She moved freely between the waves and the shores, her presence a quiet blessing to those who treated the sea with respect. Her life changed when she first encountered a human man, a sailor named Adrian. He had been shipwrecked, clinging to a piece of driftwood, his body broken and his spirit fading. Moved by his plight, Lysara rescued him, using her song to ease his pain and restore his strength. Adrian was unlike anyone she had met. His charm, his laughter, and his bold curiosity drew her in. He marveled at her beauty, but spoke to her as if she were an equal, not a creature of legend. For the first time, Lysara felt truly seen. As days turned into weeks, she began to trust him, sharing secrets of the ocean's magic and revealing her vulnerabilities. Adrian, in turn, promised her the world above, adventure, freedom, and a love that would transcend their differences. Lysara, foolish and naive in her trust, believed him. One evening, Adrian asked her about the source of her power. "Your voice," he said, gazing into her eyes. "It's unlike anything I've ever heard. Is it true that it can move the tides and tame the fiercest storms?" Lysara, blushing, nodded. "It is a gift from the ocean, a bond we share. It is what makes me who I am." Adrian smiled, but his eyes darkened with greed. That night, while Lysara slept, he betrayed her. Using a shard of enchanted coral she had given him for protection, he captured her voice, binding it within a conch shell. Without her song, Lysara was defenseless, and Adrian left her alone and powerless, taking the shell and her trust with him. When the ocean learned of Adrian's treachery, it was furious. To restore the balance, it placed a curse on Lysara, binding her voice back to her, but twisting it into a weapon of destruction. Her song, once a gift, would now lure humans to their doom, and she would know the love of men only as fleeting shadows, doomed to end in betrayal or tragedy. The warning: Tales of the Mermaid. In a quiet village, where the fishermen rose with the sun and the women sang as they mended nets, a young man named Ravel often sat by the shore, dreaming of the horizon. He was known for his curiosity and stubbornness, traits that made him an excellent fisherman, but also a restless soul. One evening, as he helped the elders repair their nets, the conversation turned to Lysara. "Stay far from her song," warned one man, his voice gruff with age. "She is a trickster feeding on the hearts of foolish men." "Avoid the deep waters," said another. "Her beauty blinds, but her soul is dark." Ravel, intrigued, asked, "But has anyone truly seen her? Perhaps she's misunderstood." The villagers laughed, shaking their heads. "Misunderstood? She's taken more lives than the sea itself. No good comes from seeking her. But Ravel couldn't let the idea go. He had always believed there was more to every story, and something about the legend felt unfinished. Against the warnings, he decided to find Lysara, determined to discover the truth about the Enchantress. Each night, he rowed farther from shore, hoping to hear her song. The villagers watched with a mix of pity and fear, certain he would not return. One moonlit night, as the sea mirrored the stars above, Ravel finally heard it. A melody so hauntingly beautiful, it made his heart ache. He followed the sound, his boat cutting through the still waters until he saw her. Lysara sat on a jagged rock, her silver hair cascading like a waterfall, her tail shimmering beneath the moonlight. Her beauty was otherworldly, but it was her eyes that struck him most. They were filled with sorrow. "Fisherman," she said, her voice smooth and enticing. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," Ravel replied, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "You are Lysara, the Enchantress of the deep." "Do you not fear me?" she asked, swimming closer, her movements hypnotic. "I do," he admitted, "but I also think there's more to you than the stories." Lysara laughed, the sound both bitter and amused. "And what if they're true? What if I drag you to the depths as I have so many others? Then I'll die, knowing I saw the truth," Ravel said simply. Something in his answer unsettled Lysara. Men always pursued her for her beauty, but this one looked at her as though she were more than a dangerous myth. The chase, earning her trust. Ravel returned each night, determined to show Lysara that he saw her as more than the feared Enchantress. On his first night back, he brought her a polished shell, its surface glinting like the moon. "What is this?" she asked, holding it delicately. "A gift," he replied. "Something as beautiful as you." Lysara laughed softly, shaking her head. "Beauty is no gift, fisherman. It is a curse." "Then I'll bring you more gifts," Ravel said, "to show you it doesn't define you." The next night he came with a song. It was a simple melody, one he had heard his mother sing by the fire. Lysara listened in silence, her head tilted as though she were savouring each note. On the third night he told her stories, of his childhood, his dreams of exploring the world, and his belief that everything, even the ocean, had a soul worth understanding. Lysara watched him with a mix of wariness and curiosity. "Why do you keep coming back?" she asked one evening, her tone sharper than usual. "Because I see more in you than the Enchantress's curse," he replied. "You are a fool, fisherman," she said. "You do not understand what I am capable of." "Then teach me," Ravel said simply. "Show me who you are." Lysara turned away, her silver hair glinting in the moonlight. "I don't know if I remember who I am." One stormy night, the ocean raged, and Lysara's song filled the air, calling sailors into the depths. It wasn't her choice. The sea demanded its due. Ravel, knowing what was happening, rushed to her and called out to her, "Lysara, fight it! You're stronger than this!" She appeared, her face twisted with pain. "I can't stop it, Ravel. It's who I am." "No," Ravel said firmly, stepping into the crashing waves. "You're more than what the sea made you. You can choose." Tears streamed down her face as she fought against her nature. The storm calmed, and her song faded into silence. For the first time, Lysara defied the ocean's curse, sparing the sailors. Lysara's defiance weakened her powers, but she no longer cared. For the first time in centuries, she felt the heavy weight of her curse begin to lift, as though the ocean itself had been watching her transformation. Ravel's unwavering faith had shown her that she was more than her curse, more than the Enchantress of legend. She was capable of love, and more importantly, she was deserving of it. One evening, as they spent time together at the water's edge under the soft glow of the moon, Lysara looked into Ravel's eyes and realized she could no longer deny the truth. She had fallen in love. It was a love born not of seduction or magic, but of trust. and understanding. "You've changed me," she whispered, her voice trembling, "in a way I never thought possible." In that moment, the ocean stirred gently, as if in approval. A warm glow surrounded Lysara, and she felt her body shift. She took a tentative step onto the shore, her emerald scales fading into smooth, sun-kissed skin. Together, they marvelled at her new form. Lysara walked through the village at Ravel's side, no longer feared but embraced by the people who had once whispered warnings of her. And when they returned to the ocean, Ravel swam beside her, moving effortlessly through the currents. The villagers once fearful came to respect Lysara, seeing her as a protector rather than a threat. Her name became a symbol of redemption, and the story of her love for the fisherman echoed for generations, a reminder that even the deepest curses could be broken by the power of love and understanding. And so the story of Lysara and Ravel reminds us that love, trust, and sacrifice have the power to overcome even the deepest curses. Their bond bridged two worlds and proved that understanding and redemption are always possible. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe in the power of love to change fate? Or are some things too broken to be mended? We would love to hear your perspective.